And he has a son also who's in another hospital that was injured as well. And he says, where are the Muslims, where are the Arabs? Are their kids and they're more valuable to them than our kids? And he's thanking the team for being there, for helping. He says, I'm going through hard times, I don't have a shekel on me, no money. And now I only have Allah. That's all I can say.
He lost his family.
Actually, it's gone completely
wiped out. And the most profound part in this for me when I was there live was, where are all the Muslims in the Muslim countries? Where is everyone? And he's talking about us. And then he also said that Gaza belongs to every Muslim, not just, or Palestine in general, not just us. We thought this was so profound. This guy, the interaction I had with him, I'm telling him, can I get you some glasses? Like, I'm literally forcing glasses on him. He can't see, he's blind, but he didn't want it. He was so content, and this is in one corner of the hospital, and this guy was there every day, every morning, just reading Quran. He's in a wheelchair. He couldn't even see. Yet he was reading. And then when it was salah time, it's salah time. Everywhere in the whole hospital, it's like mini masjids, mini musallas, everywhere. When it's salah time, everybody's praying. Taraweeh, they're doing it. Doesn't matter where. There's no masjid, no problem.
As you know, most of the masajid, the closest masjid to, this is the European house, the closest masjid, we did Jummah, and they bombed it actually a few days ago. They bombed that hospital. It's the only masjid that's close by within 5 minutes. 90% of the masajid are destroyed in Gaza. There is a drone.
That noise is 24/7. And the people would tell me, don't worry, as long as you can hear it, everything's okay. The moment you can't hear it is the moment there's something happening. And the local people that we were with in a safe house, they got so scared that I was recording, because it's literally, the drone is recording everything and targeting. And so they began to tell me to hide inside and stop recording.
These are, by the way, they're all over Gaza, the skies of Gaza, not just the spot.
You look at this thing. Ajib. And there was one night near us, there was an attack.
I didn't think you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up. One night there was an attack near us, okay, where it was like literally, it was, I don't know, 50 meters? How much? 50 meters from us?
A block away.
A block away, non-stop shooting. And we thought we were being attacked, right? And
I was standing outside of the building.
Oh, you were outside?
I was outside, and someone was sleeping.
No.
inside.
He doesn't know this, but because Adib was saying I was sleeping, but I wasn't. I did not sleep, and I'll tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why.
He jumped. Yeah, what's going on?
I jumped, and I said, let me get the Kuwaitis, so let me wake them up. Like, if we're really being, if something's really happening, let's be ready. But I couldn't sleep. He doesn't know this, because there's a rooster that just would cockle-doodle-doo, and he knows what I'm talking about. 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, at night. Listen to this. What do you know about roosters? When do they cockle-doodle-doo? In the morning. Why? What's the hadith? What's the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ about roosters? Malaika. When the rooster cockle-doodle-doos in Fajr time, it is seeing the angels. And another hadith the Prophet ﷺ said, when a donkey brays, It's seeing the shaitan. So, when did we notice the rooster going? Every time there was a bomb. Think about what I just said. No. When there was a bomb, there was what? Death. And where there's death, there's angels. Literally, I could not sleep. He knows this. Because I'd be awake, I'd be like, yo, are we going? Let's go. What are we doing? I was the only one. One of these nights, these guys were all sleeping. And I was alone by myself for suhoor. So anyway, this is just outside the compound. You can see the smoke, how close it was. How close the bombs were.
This is from bombings, yeah.
So this is currently, and this is pictures right now from our Kuwaiti team that was there.
This is from Gaza.
And
this is Gaza City. The Kuwaiti team went into Gaza. That was last week.
this is the team we were with.
That's an ambulance.
Any Saudi teams there? Not that we saw.
No. They're busy. I think this is Shifa, right?
Yeah.
This is Shifa. See how it's burnt down? That's inside the Shifa hospital.
This is a hospital, guys. There's no tunnels here.
There's nothing. Look at this. This is a stretcher. His name is Umar Thuwaini. He's from the Ighatha from Kuwait. Real great man.
He's part of the Kuwaiti Society of Relief. No, that's a great point. Go ahead.
Well,
No, listen to this.
the hospitals
There's no electricity.
in Gaza, there's no electricity. But the
It's all
hospitals,
generators.
there's generators, so they keep things, and they get fuel, but it's limited amount of fuel. Yeah.
Subhanallah, in the hospitals where we were, every few hours, the electricity went out. So you can imagine the vents, ventilators people are breathing on, all electrical. You can imagine the supplies, anything that was electric would go off. And then after a few minutes, maybe it would come back on, and sometimes longer, and then internet goes out. So this was our team that we were with. And these are some of the pictures again
You
on
can
our
see
way.
the destruction. This is a Medina that's still standing. Subhanallah. Yeah. This is in Khan
This is a
Yunis,
masjid, this is in Khan Yunis where
around
we
Nasser
were.
Hospital.
Yeah.
There's a lot of destruction in Khan Yunis, lots.
It's interesting you kept that minara.
Yeah.
In Europe, a lot of places, they don't allow minar because they think that is an Islamic symbol. Dome is, you can see in a lot of church and a lot of Jewish synagogues and temples, that minar is very typical of Islamic.
For those
In Switzerland, there is no masjid with a minar.
For those that are listening, Dr. Yasser is just talking about the symbol of the menorah, and it's limited in Europe and other countries, and the dome. This is just recent, within the last few days, the sign that we all took pride in. They literally just destroyed it. Question is, do we know how many people that have been martyred are buried in a lot of these places? We don't. And that's why we mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, it's underreported. Literally every day, there were people being dug out from the bombings that we were pronouncing. They would bring it to the hospital and we would say janazah. That's it, literally.
So
Go-
one noticeable, when you drive around, let's say Rafah or Khan Yunis, you notice homes, 3-4-story homes that have been bombed, and there be 10, 20, 50, you don't know. But what they do, the Gazans, is they write the names of the inhabitants of that house on the concrete. Huna Shaheed, Omar, whatever. They put the names on the concrete because they can't dig them out. But they leave this for people to know that there's people under this rubble. And they've been there for months. They don't have heavy machinery to dig these people out.
So now the question that we have, all of us here, is what's the next step? What can we do to help? And honestly, these were some of the things that the people of Gaza there shared with us. One, they said spread awareness. They are so appreciative of everybody around the world, anybody around the world, spreading awareness. We can do educational campaigns. Look at the divestment camps that are happening. And this is food for us. What are we doing? Honestly, we have to ask, why are you and I on this earth? Honestly. Literally, is this it? Is this life? That's it? You have injustices occurring around the world, and you have people like us that have something, some ability. What are we doing with that ability Allah has given us? So divestment camps, how many of us have gone and supported our own youth at the universities? How many of you have gone to Ann Arbor and just stand there with the youth to give them that support? It's not easy. It takes a lot of courage and bravery. What about social media? A lot of us are famous. Our youth are so famous on TikTok. Why? I know people that are making millions of dollars in this community on TikTok. Our youth. Are we using these tools? Are we using these tools in a positive way? What about Instagram? Online material. Maybe you're not famous on these social medias, but maybe you know how to write. Maybe you know some people, maybe you can spread the awareness to your neighbors, to the school, wherever it is. Why are we so afraid? What has happened to us in our iman? Literally, when we see this was the most amazing thing for me, which helped me. I was ready. I'm to be very honest with you. You can ask my wife. I was ready. I had full intention, and Dr. Jiab knows it because we were talking about it. We went there knowing that we are not coming back. We had prepared everything. I got 6 kids too. I was like, and my wife's a nurse. I was like, you're going to take care of this. We got to go. So when we were there, there's no fear in their hearts. Literally, you would hear the bombs, the cannons, and they're just going out. The women, the children, not one child. The only time I saw of Palestinian with tears is if a child died, if their child was hurt, or if their loved one, somebody who's a child, got injured. Adults, the elderly, they were like, Alhamdulillah. They would say Alhamdulillah, and they were like, this is with Allah. But when a child got hurt, then they got emotional. But otherwise, these women, these children, all they do is read Quran and trying to help each other. That's all I saw. They don't have any clothes either, by the way. There was no clothes. They just kept wearing the same clothes, and never did I see a woman's hair. I had a child patient. She got shot. She had gunshots, and I shot Dr. Jiab this, and I was asking him, orthopedic consultation, there was a bullet inside the bone, in the knee. She couldn't walk. She was 17 years old. She had shots here, here, and here on the shoulder, the straps, okay? And she's in so much pain, and her father is so concerned about her. And he found out, I'm telling you what happened. He found out that I'm visiting from America, so he left everybody else and came to me. He's like, can you look at my daughter? I want to examine her, and she wouldn't let me examine her. Why? Out of haya, out of modesty. And I'm telling, and the father is like, it's okay, he's a doctor. It's okay, he's a doctor. And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay. Then so I had to use my clinical skills. And alhamdulillah, we got the x-rays, and she was okay with that. And then, she had the bullet, and then she had to be seen by the orthopedic. So what are you and I doing? Why are we so afraid? The wahan. Wallahi, the wahan, Sheikh, right? You have Muslims that are like the foam of the sea in numerous amounts of numbers, but they have wahan in their hearts. And the Prophet ﷺ was then asked, what is wahan? Hubbi dunya wa karahatul maut. That people have so much love for this world. We're so afraid to give up the comforts that we are living in. And we're afraid of death. How can, over there, they can't wait to meet Allah. Here, we don't want to meet Allah. That's the idea, that's the mentality. And we need to change that mindset. How will we return? By following the Quran and Sunnah. You have a blog, YouTube. Use these tools that Allah gave us. What about academic and cultural and economic boycotts, political advocacy? We have so many contacts and connections, and me and Sheikh Abdullah were just talking about this, that we sit with people that are in political positions and authority and power. When it comes to donations, they're here, raising their funds, asking for our support. But what about now in return? Not one of them has stood up for the Palestinian people, and they're more concerned about October 7th. Really? Really? Ask that question. What is the point in all of this? Honestly. For those that, what is the point? We can do petitions, we can do protesting. Wallahi, we were just talking about how in America, the youth, and even in Pakistan, the youth were the cause for change. By supporting the protesting, the universities, the Vietnam War was stopped because of university protesting. A lot of people say, well, what's protesting going to do? Okay, maybe, yeah. But honestly, 90% of an event being successful is what? Is you showing up. You don't have to talk. You don't got to be, somebody in the middle. It's just you showing up. Just show up. Not everybody's going to be the speaker or the one in the spotlight. What about support? We know only a few groups that we saw there that are actually on the ground able to take supplies in. We have to support these groups. We have to. What else? How else are you participating? The humanitarian aid, building alliances, all these alliances we built. What for what? Honestly, there should be pressure. What are you afraid of? They're going to say no? Okay, at least we tried. At least we tried. At least you said something. Honestly, we underestimate the power of boycotting. When that time was happening early on, look at what happened. When we boycotted, look at the stock market. Even though, I'm telling you, it's 2%, maybe 5% decrease, just by they lost millions of dollars. You still have Muslims, you still have people in general that stand up for humanity, still supporting these companies. You can't give up a coffee, honestly. We can't give up a coffee for our brothers and sisters overseas, or forget in humanity. This is really what we have gotten into. We can't give up these, and anyways, this food is just terrible. Or this entertainment, Disney entertainment. You're telling me you can't do this one small thing? Wallahi, we were with these beautiful brothers, Mahmoud. He's a photographer, media photographer. And I asked him, what message do you have? And he said, there's 2 billion Muslims in the world. And they can't even help us. They can't even help us somehow, some way. And the least they can do is at least boycott some of these companies. Look at over 120 universities have now joined worldwide, standing up for truth and justice. Anybody, if you have a child at a university, support them, encourage them. It's not easy. It's very scary. You saw what happened at UCLA. It's not easy. And this is a form of struggle for Allah. What do they want us to know? Literally, towards the end of our trip, I asked everybody, what do you want us to know? One, they wanted us to know how many journalists have been killed. And the world is silent. That was the first thing they wanted us to know. And many of the people we were staying with, their family members that were journalists, that were reporting the truth. That's the first thing they wanted us to know. The second thing they wanted us to know is that what's happening every hour in Gaza. 42 bombs are being dropped, buildings are being destroyed, people are being killed and injured every hour. They wanted us to know that these people have no affiliation with any political group. Most of the people that we interacted with had no affiliation with any political group. And they were confused and surprised. Why? Why us? What did we do? They wanted us to know that it's happening daily massacre. And this is literally, I wrote these down to share with everyone. This is from the people there. That genocide is being carried out daily. They want us to know. They didn't want us to necessarily do anything about it, but they just know genocide is happening. They wanted us to know that healthcare has completely collapsed, okay? And there's a continuous strain on the healthcare workers there. They have not been paid for 7 months. They have not been paid yet. They're showing up every day. And may Allah bless Rahma and some of these organizations, because when they would go there, they would help them. They would help them. And that just gave them more encouragement and motivation. Mass casualties without power or resources. The system is overwhelmed. There's no power there. It's all generators. It's all generators.
Generates only for the big establishment.
Yes, only for the big establishment, exactly. 153 hospitals, health units have been destroyed. There's a shortage of equipment, and there's only 3 main hospitals left. This is as of yesterday. 3 main hospitals left, the European, the Kuwaiti, and Al-Najjar. And these hospitals, by the way, they're small.
And Najjar, they closed it, by the way.
They closed it.
The staff, there's no staff. It's a small hospital, but they closed it.
As Dr. Jia mentioned, there's rising temperatures. There's no sewage and waste. It's hot. There's no AC, there's no fan, there's no nothing. There's no way to clean up the system. The conditions are just worsening, and because of this, there's other diseases that are coming out. And we put these pictures here because in the ER, I saw at least 25% of my cases, and I'm seeing like hundreds a day. 25% of that, I would say, was hepatitis A. And we know hepatitis A is spread, contamination. These kids were yellow like highlighters, literally highlighters. And I only included some of these pictures here. But you imagine the diseases that are developing and coming as a result. Refugees are living in every corner, every inch of the hospitals. And now they're trying to clear out, Rahma, mashallah, Allah bless Sheikh Shadi and the team. They saw this while we were there. And they came up with a plan. And they were able to provide a lot of the people that were living in that hospital, we were at European, with tents. With tents. And so they cleared out a lot of the European hospital. There's lack of food, famine, hunger. The Rafah border is being prevented from having any aid entering in it, and 2 million people are displaced in this area. There's an influx of insects and bugs.
This last point, pregnant woman. We went to there's a hospital called Al-Auda Hospital, which is on the border between Gaza and the central provinces of Gaza. Never seen this hospital before. And it's the only delivery facility in Gaza. They deliver about 60 babies a day. A day. He commented on this, the staff being overworked. So we have videos of these people, and the OBGYN said, I live 2 kilometers away. And this is the president of the hospital right there. I'm standing next to him. He's right there. And the physicians, there's another picture of the physicians there. He says to me, Doctor, I live 2 kilometers away, but I don't go home. Because if you divide 60 babies a day by 24 hours, that means you're delivering 2.5 babies a day, an hour. So if he gets home, he's called back. So they're exhausted. And then when we came back, that's one of the doctors there, this guy. So one of the things we decided to do is to take with us delivery physicians to relieve these folks. We never had any delivery physicians with us. That's a new baby that was delivered when we were there. I told them to name him after me. It's a boy. They said no. Your name is ugly. I'm like, okay. It's a beautiful baby, mashallah. And it's the cleanest facility I've seen in Gaza. The cleanest. This guy kept it clean, did not allow any person to live inside the hospital, have a tent inside. So mashallah, he kept a good facility. But they're exhausted too, you know. And they're about 500 meters from where are all the tanks and the bombs. Last week they bombed the 4th floor of this hospital. They bombed the fourth floor of this facility. العودة اسمه هذا في انصيرات. Subhanallah. So it's pretty, but regardless of all this, is this it? Is this the last slide?
They want, so this is currently the situation right now in the area that we were in. I think that is right.
Yeah.
It's a couple more slides, that's it. So what are the direct impacts on the health with all these injuries, disability, mortality? This is just for our awareness. Look at the indirect impacts that happens. You have destruction of the facilities, disruption of, preventative medicine, economic disasters, mental and health stress, food insecurities, water issues, Honestly, the water, there's no water. There's 4 tanks in that area, 250,000 people. There were 4 big tanks, and they would get filled in the morning. And by the time not even the last person, by the time people got there, it was all gone. And in the European hospital, people would come checking in, pretending, a lot of times, just wanting to get checked out for chronic issues, just so they could use the water. The water, though, was salty. We were scared, a little exaggeration here, but we were worried that is our fast being broken because it's like salt. You're literally tasting salt. And one of the ways of breaking your fast is salt. The Prophet ﷺ used to break his fast with 3 things: water, dates, and salt. So this is what the issue is. So you have infectious disease break. So imagine the long-term effect of the people here. What's going to happen? You're talking about genocide. Literally just gone. And so the World Health Organization is sharing what's going on there. 1.7 million, 2 million people under the rubble. We don't even know how many people are under the rubble. There's nothing functioning anymore. And all these diseases are occurring, Chicken pox. I saw so many cases of chicken pox. I can't even tell you how many cases of chicken pox I had. Diarrhea, stomach flu, hepatitis, skin issues, chronic issues getting worse, cancers, and then all the trauma, all the traumas that we saw.
By the way, a couple of things. These chronic issues, like one of the people that worked with us in the hospital, Ali, I said to him, what do you need from us? And he says, I need some blood pressure medicine for my mother, because she hasn't had her blood pressure medication for 4 months. You can't find medications, some basic things, And these chronic conditions, like Abdullah said, diabetes, nobody's managing this. There's no clinics. We built a makeshift facility on the water. There are 12 physicians that are working for free, and these are tents basically we built. And then there's a medicine doctor that comes, a dermatologist that comes, an OBGYN that comes. They service 100,000 people in the area, put a little pharmacy, and they're working almost 12 hours a day for free. Haven't been paid. It's been open for 2 months now. في المواصي. And we're trying to make more of these because all the clinics have been destroyed. There's nothing left. So these antibiotics, they have none. So every time we go, we take whatever we can with us. We buy it from Egypt, take it with us too. It's just desperate. Honestly, it's desperate. And with this latest, the latest blockage of the Rafah border, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best what's going to happen. This is the 4th day now, or the 5th day. So, in a nutshell, Abdullah went over a lot of this destruction and need, and what can we do. And I will tell you this, the Gazans don't want anything from us. Muslims, they say, we gave up, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there for us. And but I relay the message. You can see all this, and anything you can do, it may be small, minor. Some people just bring. Today, this lady dropped 2 boxes of like gauze for females when they deliver. Small packages. I've never seen this before. She said, "I have them. Like, bring it." If someone delivers in the tent, they're delivering babies. Just imagine this. Because they don't have access to drive 2.5 hours to go to the hospital to have a baby, so they deliver their babies in tents. And this happens. So something basic like this is, and simple helps quite a bit. Anybody can help. It could be small, could be large, could be medicine, could be gauze, could be food. Food is scarce in Gaza too, especially the north. In the south, there is food, but it's very expensive. When I got there the first time, a kilo, which is of onions, was selling for 70 shekels, it's almost $20. Onions, 2 pounds of onions. This is not meat. Meat was non-existent. One of the anesthesiologists from Gaza, from Shifa Hospital, who moved down to the European hospital, one day I walked in and he had chicken on the table. It's frozen chicken. I'm like, Abu Muhammad, what is this? He goes, listen, don't talk to me. I just got this. He bought 2 bags of chicken, wallahi, and he was breaking it up. He said, I'm going to give it to the staff here. They haven't seen chicken for 4 months. Wallahi, that's unbelievable. And he's not keeping it for himself. He's just portioning the pieces of chicken and giving it to the staff so they can go cook, So it's pretty desperate, but I'll tell you something that we all noticed, not just me, every mission that has gone there. Gazans have resilience. It's beyond belief, and I think the malaika surround them, honestly, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them strength to otherwise who can stand all this, I keep telling my friends that are white and black here, if this happened, let's say in Wyandotte, you practice in Wyandotte, or let's say in a hospital in Wayne, you had 50 mass casualties come in, what would you do? You probably call the National Guard to come in, and you can't manage this stuff, especially the extent of these injuries. None of them is simple, none of them is basic, none of them is easy, One night, I had to call the vascular guy, Dr. Muhib, who came from Sweden, for a vascular injury, like the vessels were blown up. Orthopedics, we went 3 of us, and then a nerve injury on the same patient, and 8-hour operation for this one patient. It's all complex, nothing is simple. So, but again, like he said, he asked them, alhamdulillah, I'm okay. They don't ask for pain medicine, and they're just thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for whatever happens. So that the message is, we need to do whatever we can, in any way we can. And nobody, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask us, all of us, nobody has an excuse to say, well, I can't do anything for them. I went to a school, I'll end with this story. There's a school in Dearborn. And when I was in Gaza, the second day, I was disgusted when I saw these people in the European hospital. You walk in, these ladies, their legs are exposed. So I sent a video message to a friend of mine in Dearborn. I said, I asked Rahma, can I do this? Because I'm under their umbrella. They said, yeah, of course. We need to raise money to move these people by the way, every single person in the European hospital is out of the hospital now. They all moved out into tents. I said, we can't have this. It's unhealthy. It's overexhausting the system, the hospital. And the president couldn't do anything about it, because what am I going to do? Throw them outside? You have 25,000 people that were living in the hospital, in the corridors and hallways. Not outside, inside. Anyways, within 5 days, they raised $180,000 for the tents. $180,000. Wallahi. They sent me a copy of the check. I was still in Gaza. I came in, I saw them Sunday, I delivered the check. The tents were being manufactured in Egypt, and they were delivered. In the last 2 weeks, we started evicting these people from the hospital. I'm like, go live in a tent. You have your family, you're privately in a tent. So what Brother Abdullah showed initially about these people in the facility, they're all moved out. And Brother Hammam, who was one of the guys over there from Gaza, sent me videos. He goes, Dr. Jihab, look, it's clean. They're all moved out. I'm like, Allah, alhamdulillah, wallahi. And he's happy because I told him we need to move. He goes, how are you going to move them out? So and it's simple. I said, how much does it cost for a tent? $350. $350 for a tent. Anybody can put $50, $10, whatever. Long story short, a school in Dearborn, it's called Gear Elementary School. This is an elementary school. They raised $10,000 for the tent project. So when I came back from the second mission, the principal, her name is Mrs. Faraj, she's Lebanese, she said to me, we want you to come, the students want to meet you. I'm like, okay. So I went in last Friday, Jum'ah, 9 o'clock. I walked into school, they had all these kids, 350 kids. I haven't walked into elementary school since my kids were in elementary school at Crescent. And I looked, I'm like, what am I going to tell these kids? 350 kids. They have something called penny war. So the principal told them, she showed them the video I sent. She said, we need to do the penny war, raise pennies. Wallahi, these kids, they're Yemeni, they're Lebanese, Palestinians, Syrians, India born, and white, black, they're mixed, We need to raise this money for this cause. So they raised $10,000 from these kids. When I was there, she gave me a check for not for me, but for this cause, for $5,800 plus, And this is from kids that put pennies in this project, subhanAllah. I was so impressed with them, I mean, and that's something little, but it does help in many ways. So that's just an example of how we can, inshallah. And if we can't, we can talk to someone who can. And there's a lot of organizations. I don't represent any organization specifically, I've worked for Anira, is a Christian organization. I have a friend who's Christian also. When I knew he was capable of delivering food to Gaza, the north, I said, listen, how many people can you feed? This is Ramadan. He says, we don't have too much food. Rahma didn't have access to food in Gaza, in the north, because there was no food in Gaza. People were eating grass. Imagine. The brother that was with us, he represents Rahma in Gaza, great man, Abu Yusuf. He said, when I saw my father after 2 months on FaceTime, I did not recognize him. He's from Gaza City, from Beit Lahi. He lost so much weight, and I couldn't recognize. He said to me, his dad told him, Abu Yusuf, you're feeding people in Rafah and Khan Yunus. Send us something. He goes, how am I going to get it to you? That's his own father. And but they finally were able to get some food convoys about 10 days ago. Now everything is blocked again. But alhamdulillah, we can make dua and we can do something for our brothers and sisters in Gaza, inshallah. جزاكم الله خير وبارك الله فيكم for listening to us, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakumullahu khairan. If there's any questions, we can have a few questions, inshallah, very quickly.
Question that comes to mind, I'm a native with the absolute closure right now. On all sides and all directions, we don't know even what is the forecast for the coming days. And for the 5th day right now, absolutely nothing comes in or goes out.
So there was a meeting with the UN, the Red Cross, the WHO 2 days ago to see where this is going. And of course, there is a liaison with Israelis that these organizations talk to. When they said they should open the Rafah border within the next few days, could be Sunday, could be Monday, No, they will open the Rafah border crossing too. Under who's going to run it, we'll find out. We'll see. But they can't keep it closed. I mean, they open Karam Abu Salim, they have to get some food supplies in. It can't be closed forever. But that's what they're saying. Currently, it's pretty dire. It's pretty bad right now. Yeah, because nothing's going in at all. There were a few convoys that went through areas. Now, if you saw this or not, the settlers blocked a whole road with rocks yesterday. So they can block the convoys from going into, and it's tough. It's not easy. But may Allah make it easy, inshallah. You mean medical care for physicians? What we do, when I went the first time, you connect with people in each hospital, so you know what each hospital needs. We visited literally every hospital in the south. I haven't been able to get to the north, but there were 10 physicians that were in the north. The Kuwaiti brothers were in the north just last week. They left the day they closed the border. So you ask these people, what do you need? I need this. So every mission that goes in, we buy the supplies from Egypt, or we take them from wherever, like Jordan brings some from. The Kuwaiti brothers brought a lot of equipment with them from Kuwait. And it goes through. As long as it's not big equipment, they let it go through. The Egyptians, they let it go through. If it's in suitcases, small boxes, they don't bother, So that's the only inlet, is what missions bring with them, And this stuff, because of the constant injuries, you're basically exhausting the hospitals, The guy at the Kuwaiti hospital, Dr. Sahib, every day he says, man, I have nothing left. I have nothing left of this. He's seen about 100 injuries a day at least, because he's the only hospital in Rafah that's open. The only hospital that's open right now in Rafah. The whole area of Rafah, where 1.4 million people are, you know.
Is that true? I was told some folks, they want to go back to Gaza. Gazans who are in Egypt are fed up and they just want to go home even if they have to die. But they are mandating they cannot take more than one suitcase.
Who, the Egyptians, you mean? That's not true. It's not true. I had 10 suitcases by myself. You can take whatever you want. Yeah. Even in Ramadan, when we went in, they did not even put the suitcases through the X-ray machine. We just went through. So people make up stories, I think. There's some truth to some things. Big machines, they can't get through. They have to go through the Israelis.
You guys are screwing with foreigners, probably that's why they're just trying to polish the picture. But I think with the
Maybe the locals, you mean? Yeah, probably. Yeah, if you're from Gaza and you have a Gazan passport, they probably give you a hard time. Yeah, that's true.
Is there any way we can get a email presentation which will be kind of brief for our neighbors and politicians?
Sure.
Individually, we can
Of course.
campaign
Definitely.
or not.
I think we all should. Yeah, we can do that. We can do something like short. They can, like maybe PowerPoint. They can look over. Yeah.
Like, whoever we can, we have access to.
Sure.
Anybody, there are young people in Dearborn that are represented, various,
Definitely.
So if we get those, our shuyukh can send it through, okay, maybe that's not permissible, I don't know, as a non-profit organization, but whatever we can.
on an individual level, they can do it.
Yeah, we have to,
Yeah, we can do something simple and basic, without all the.
particularly to non-Muslims, neighbors.
I think that's important. Yeah.
But don't send it to politicians, please.
The reason, I'm not arguing, just trying to understand.
They have more information than we.
I think, brother, all politicians see this, they know this. I wouldn't waste my time with politicians because this is not hidden. The the White House knows this stuff more than you do, and I know, and the senators, the congressmen, they all know this stuff. They see it every day. But they're, and all the Muslim leaders know this. They see it every day too. I was in Egypt. It's amazing, for me, how much. I was at a barber, having a haircut before I left. And my son was with me, and he was tired. I said, go, we broke fast. He was with us, Abdullah. I said, go rest. They're old, I'm young, so I'm not tired. I was having a haircut, and I told the barber, his name is Khalid, how many kids do you have? So I'm just trying to start a chat with him. 10 times I told him specifically, I was in Gaza with a medical mission. I brought all these physicians. Wallahi, not one single time he'd say, how are the cats doing in Gaza? Not the human beings. That's how much they have not just control, they're scared. They put the fear in these people. When we were driving from Rafah to Cairo on the way back, it's about 400 kilometers or so, and they took us through the Sinai Desert, but different road than the one we took to Gaza. So we're driving, and the driver, his name is Hassan. This is the third time he goes with us. And I said to him, "What's that in the middle of the desert?" He goes, "That's a brick factory." Then about 10 kilometers past that, I said, "What is that?" He goes, "Guess." Like, I don't know. That's a huge, because that's a jail that Sisi built, 3 of them in the Sinai Desert. Wallahi, literally, the length of the jail is about 3 kilometers. He said the depth is bigger than this doctor because I can see the depth of it. I said, "For what?" He goes, this is for the Muslim Brotherhood folks. He put them in jails in the Sinai Desert, so their families can't get to them. I'm like, Allahu Akbar. But they put the fear in these people, so they won't talk. The Uber driver, Abdullah, wanted to eat ice cream. I'm like, "You want to eat ice cream? Tayyib yallah, ice cream." So we went to Medinat Nasr. He Ubered, I don't know how to use Uber. So he Ubered a taxi. We get in the car, and again, I'm trying to pick the guys, and I said on the way back, another Uber guy, and I was looking at my phone, I was reading the news. That's the only way you know what's going on. They said, the leadership of Qatar and Hamas and the Egyptian intelligence are meeting in Cairo tonight to discuss a ceasefire. So I looked at Abdullah, and we had another brother from Jordan whose name is Omar. I said, they're meeting tonight. Maybe Allah will bring faraj. And the guy turned red. His face turned red, like the driver. Subhanallah. But you know what I'm talking about. The fear they put in these people is just unreal. Well, alhamdulillah. I think at the end of the day, things, inshallah, will change, inshallah. Inshallah.
Jazakumullah khairan. Jazakumullah khairan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any way that we can support, we went through all of that.
So that goes through Rahma, any kind of things that's going to go through Rahma?
Any organization.
Wallahi, you have access to Allah. So I'll tell you what I saw on the ground. And like I said, I went with Rahma because that was the first organization when I filled an application that called me on a Thursday. Are you ready to go? I'm like, ready to go. I have 20 surgeries next week. What do you mean ready to go? I have 200 patients to see. Give me 2 weeks. You have to leave Saturday. We got the approval from, once they gave me the approval, you gotta go. I'm like, okay. Booked the ticket. I was on the plane Saturday, left my practice, went in there Sunday. So what did I see in Gaza? I saw a few organizations on the ground. UN is there. PCRF is there. Rahma is there. I saw their camps, their tents, their kitchens, they have a bakery. So I've visited these places, and we've helped, slaughter cows and distribute the food to people, in the camps. So, I mean, that's not to say there's not other organizations that are on the ground.
Do you think influx of these organizations will be maintained, or maybe whatever they have done with the World Central Kitchen will just...
They're still working, Sammy. And actually, they went back, and if you're gonna fear being bombed or killed, like one brother called me from California. I was in Gaza. He texted me. He says, "I want to go to Gaza. Is it safe?" I said, "Don't come to Gaza. Don't ask me that question. If you're going to Gaza, it's war. So don't ask me this question. Don't come." What? And he's an anesthesiologist. Then he texts me back and says, "I'm sorry." I'm like, you don't ask this question. If you're going to Ukraine, one of the brothers that was with us went to Ukraine, Samir al-Attar. He's an amazing orthopedic surgeon from Northwestern. He said, "I went to Ukraine, spent 2 weeks in Ukraine, and I was in Syria. The injuries that I've seen in Gaza are a lot worse than what I've seen in Ukraine and Syria, subhanAllah." So the short answer is, if you want to do something, they're doing it on the ground. They have teams on the ground. They're all Gazans. Rahma. Every single one of them. I know them, all of them. Asma, Hammam, Abu Yusuf, Abu Jud. Every single one of them I know. And I communicate with them every day. See what they want, what they need. They go to hospitals, they go to the camps. We need this, we need that, So, but again, you can do it through any organization that has access, inshallah, inside. One other thing I want to say, which I raised this money for, is water. In Beit Lahia, the engineers have solar panels to power 2 water wells. So Abu Yusuf, when he went into Beit Lahia 10 days ago, he went and visited. They said to him, "We need to build these wells. We need just to generate, the generators." And they can do it. Gazans are very smart, very slick. They can make do with anything. So he sent me the studies. One well will cost, and I already raised this money, $70,000. It will supply water to the 2 wells to about 100,000 people. And one would cost 150, one would cost $70,000. I already raised this money, alhamdulillah, within a week. Okay? So now all the municipalities are doing the same thing now. We want to raise money because they saw and of course the Yahud will not allow you to dig wells right now because digging means going underground. So that's off the, maybe Sammy will go dig wells.
You know what? It's not easy for me as a native, to be honest with you, to go to even to the Egyptians. You guys are privileged because you are only from this side of town.
I know, Allah, I know. Jazakum Allah khair.
If you're not a physician, if someone asks you, what can I do when I go to Gaza, what other things people can do?
Not much. Basically, what goes to Gaza now is medical, physicians, nurses, technicians, like if you're a biomedical engineer, this is it. That's all what's allowed to go in Gaza. I mean, if you're just wanting to go because you're X, Y, and Z.
Medical missions, is the Israeli side
Yes, the way this works, brother, every name, here's how it works. Yes, you're right, but at least, they're allowing these missions to go in. The way it works, like let's say we're leaving tomorrow, we have 25 physicians with us. These names go to the Israelis. They go to the Egyptians, but technically they're going to the Israelis. That's how they do it. They approve it, they go back to the Egyptians. Yeah, these guys, Sammy's not allowed, Jihab is allowed, Richard is allowed, he's not allowed, Sheikh Abdullah is allowed. They sent back, listen to this. This is shocking. From Cairo, there's a brother from Northville, Dr. Khalid Saleh. He has an organization called Fajr Scientific. He came in when I was there. And they held them back in Cairo for 2 days. There was a brother with them that was active on social media, and the Yahud knew this. So they said, you are all going back. These are brothers that left their work, booked tickets, So they contacted one of the brothers from Rahma. He was with me in the room. He goes, Jihab, they want me to help them. I said, help them. It's okay. Who cares? I said, why are they keeping them, not allowing them to go in? He goes, there's one guy. So this brother knows the liaison. He talks to her all the time. I said, pick up the phone, call her, the Israeli lady. Tell her, okay, let the 19 and let the guy go back. You can't block 19, because the problem is once you get physicians in, these physicians are allocated to certain hospitals. So like Kuwaiti hospital tomorrow is expecting 10 of us to be there to help them, European. We're supposed to go to Gaza. I'm supposed to go to Kamal Udwan myself with 5 physicians. So if I don't get there, basically they don't have access to us. And another mission could have done that, but so the physicians are allocated by the Ministry of Health. Every mission that goes in, that's how they do it. So she finally said, okay, the one guy goes back to Sweden, the 19 can go in. And they put restrictions on them. They told them from 9 to 5, you can be at the European hospital. After 5 o'clock, you have to be at the dorm. So I told them, Adib, how are they going to know? I ran into Khalid Saleh, who's an orthopedic surgeon. He said to me, I want to do the case for you. I bought some equipment. I was doing these cases myself. I said, no, don't worry about me. I can do my case. But why do you want to do the case I'm going to do? This guy's been waiting for 2 months to have this surgery done. He said, because we can't be in the hospital past 5 o'clock. I'm like, how are they going to know? He said, yesterday, I left here at 6:30, so she texted me. She said, you should have been out of the hospital at 5. They watched them through the phones. Wallahi. Yeah. I'm like, wow. So that's how hard the phones, yeah. But to make it short, the list goes to them, and here's the other part of this. As a mission, like I'm leaving to Cairo tomorrow at 9 o'clock. All right? I get there Sunday. If the border opens, I think there's 6 Algerian physicians that refused to leave Cairo. They said, we came on this mission because they blocked the border. They said, we're not going back, even if we stay in Cairo for a month. If they open the border, wallahi, from Algeria. So they're waiting in the hotel. So let's say they open the border Tuesday, for example. So we all go. There's 10 checkpoints from Cairo to Rafah. Each checkpoint is mukhabarat, Masri. So you stop. I go down. I have the passports. I show them the passport. They match the names with the names they have. Let's say Sami is on the bus, or Abdul Rashid is on the bus, but his name is on the list. The whole mission goes back. So they verify each checkpoint. That's all they do till you get to the Egyptian Rafah border, and then they check the same thing. Once you get inside the Gaza, khalas, it's over, But that's how they do things, That's why Sami can't go, because he's Gazan from Gaza, So, but they do allow, and
I'd like to go, but I told Rahma.
What are you?
I'm an internist and Syria.
We don't need internists. Not important. It's honestly, it is important. Here's the problem. The problem is everything is urgent and emergent. So, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but we need internists, But for now, the focus was, okay, they need neurosurgeons. Orthopedic surgeons are number one, not because I'm an orthopod, because most of the injuries are extremity injuries, arms, legs, So you need to take care of and then vascular, burns, a lot of burns. So maxillofacial, a lot of facial injuries, Urology, which we took a couple of brothers with us 2 weeks ago. Internal medicine is important, in the hospitals. It is important because nobody's looking at these people, Dialysis, there's about 1,400 people with no dialysis. Now they allowed us to buy 20 dialysis, the Israelis, 20 dialysis, and to make a makeshift tent but then you have to have the water, dialysis requires. So they said, you can do that. We bought 20 machines already. And so that's coming, that's the forthcoming. They allowed a tent hospital So I was talking to the Rahma people 2 days ago. I said, so where are you going to get the cement from? To build but you have to have cement, They said they allowed us to get cement, but after the closure of the Rafah crossing, they said it's on hold now, So may Allah, inshallah, ease things up on the people. There's a lot to be done. There's a lot to be done. Because as you saw, they destroyed not just hospitals, even freestanding clinics. They destroyed everything, So that's why if you have blood pressure, diabetes, thyroid disease, I walked in the hospital to see him to check on Abdullah. And when I said, where's Abdullah? Of course, if you walk in the emergency room, 100 people will be around you. Doctor, this, I'm like, I don't do that stuff. My hemoglobin is this, I'm a stupid orthopedic surgeon. But because they see you're wearing the Rahma vest, they think you're just, So and then he's sitting in the back, trying to convince this young man, they cannot do TSH and T3 and T4 levels in the hospital. They don't have the tests, the kits. So tell this doc, I already explained to him through a translator, and the people in the air speak English, the nurses and the doctors. His eyes are bulged out, his heart rate is fast, he has anxious, so he's got hyperthyroid, whatever it is, hypo. And Abdullah is telling me, symptomatically, he needs to take this medicine and wait 2 weeks till they find the lab, the kits. So I was telling him, take the medicine the doctor wrote you, and
If they can find them.
if and when, So it's cancer patients. This Abu Yusuf yesterday, he texted me, he goes, Jihad, in northern Gaza, there's nothing. I'm like, that's a tough one. We're going to get cancer medication, chemo. From where? He goes, bring pain medicine with you. I'm like, pain medicine, morphine, where am I going to get you morphine from? It's a controlled substance. He goes, well, people are, so it's a lot of people, like dialysis, What do you do if nobody's got dialysis for 2 weeks? You're going to die, right? So it's a lot of challenges, Well, what do you do? SubhanAllah. Inshallah, just make dua, inshallah, and whatever you can do. But as an internist, if you want to go, I'll give you my information, send it to me. Rahma has, I made myself in charge of this because there's a lot of, like the last time I was there were 20 orthopedic surgeons at the European hospital. And we did not need 20 orthopedic surgeons. There was just misorganization of the missions. So now I have 5, like PAMA, who is the Palestinian American Medical Association, PCRF. I know the CEO of each one of these organizations. So I contacted them. I said to Rahma people, you're not physicians, stay away from this whole thing. Because if Sammy calls them, says, I want to go, okay, come. If X, you can't do this. We need to know who's going, where, and what their specialty, and allocate them to different facilities, So now I'm taking care of this just to kind of ease this organization, So if you want to go, I'll give you my information. شو اسمك انت? I have your information? محمود. أنا 15 years ago. ما شاء الله. إن شاء الله خير. هلا I'll share my information with you. إن شاء الله خير. خير. جزاكم الله خير. بارك الله فيكم for listening. إن شاء الله. Make dua for the people of Gaza every minute, and whatever you can do, just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. Don't make shaitan make you, think twice about it. And don't worry about anybody watching you. Don't worry about it. Nobody's. Who cares?
جزاك الله خير.